Call regular city council meeting Monday, August 22 to order. Clerk call roll, please.
Alderman Putoff.
Here.
Ferrari.
Here.
Waldorf.
Here.
Makosha.
Here.
Radke.
Here.
Mueller. Sapienza. Payton.
Here.
Mayor Hurl.
Here. Pledge of allegiance. No presentations I'm aware of. There isn't anything. Public comment on any agenda items. Does anybody have anything? Public comment on agenda items. Okay, do we have a motion to receive the minutes placed on file?
So moved, Your Honor.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Do we have a motion to receive the financial reports in place on file?
So moved, Your Honor. Second.
Have a motion and a second to receive the financial reports in place on file. Is there any discussion?
Your Honor, just wanted to indicate one or two items on the financial report. Sales tax through May is up about 4% from year to date from last year. You see it, if you look at the report from May to May, you see about identical as far as retail sales. Also, if you look through the vast amount of information in the Treasurer's report, look at all of the city funds in the areas of that. The city is on budget as far as the funding. They remain in a pretty solid foothold for that area. So just a few points to point out. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. We have a motion to receive the activity reports placed on file. So moved. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Move on to Finance Safety Services. Chairman Putoff.
Disbursements will be handled by my colleague, Alderman Radke.
Yes, Your Honor. Total disbursements for August 24, 2016 are $2,472,938.53. I move that this report be received, placed on file, and the bills paid in the usual manner.
Second.
Second, Your Honor.
We have a motion and a second to receive the disbursements, place on file, and pay the bills in the usual manner. Any discussion? Have a roll call vote. Clerk call roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Makosha.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Payton.
Aye.
Motion approved.
Your Honor, tonight on the agenda, I'd like to make a motion to approve the NCICG annual membership fee for the amount of $3,099.
Second, Your Honor.
Have a motion and a second to approve the NCICG annual membership for $3,000.99. Is there any discussion?
Your Honor, the city has benefited from many grants that the NCICG has helped assist the city with, and we felt that it's important to keep that membership and support their work.
I think we came up before this meeting with about $2 or $2.5 million in grant funds that they've helped to administer, helped to apply for in the last year, 18 months.
Any further discussion? Have a roll call vote. Call the roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Makosha.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Payton.
Aye.
Motion approved.
On the agenda tonight, Your Honor, is a motion to authorize the mayor or the city clerk to execute a fiscal sponsor agreement with Starved Rock County Community Foundation for the Illinois Valley Regional Airport Tribute to the Veterans event to be held on May 20th, 2017. And I think what I'll do is Jim Lukosius has been working hand in hand with this group. If Jim, you could enlighten us a little bit about the project.
Yeah, the Starved Rock Country Community Foundation gives us the ability to have a 501c3 company working with us for corporate donations. We have found with the first show that we did last year that we got some feedback that there were companies that wanted to donate, but when they found out that we weren't a 501c3, so we went ahead and we signed an agreement with them kind of late in the game, and it did help us tremendously. So I think it'll help us in the long run with donations for next year's event.
So really, they have a lot of contacts that the city doesn't have, and they kind of take that more, I guess, professional approach to fundraising to generate funds for those things.
Yeah, Pam Beckett, who's the head of the foundation over there, she already has sent out letters and has secured some donations for the event, which won't be held until next May. So we're fundraising is off and running.
And again, I had made that motion. Is there a second on the floor?
Second.
Second by Alderman Waldorf.
Okay, any further discussion? Have a roll call vote, call the roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Payton.
Motion approved.
Your Honor, I'd like to authorize purchase of a temporary classroom from Shooting Park Baptist Church in the amount of $4,000 to be moved to the shooting range for training classes. I'm going to turn this over to the chief to explain what...
As you all, excuse me, as I think you all know, we probably have the single best firearms training range really in Illinois. We found a perfect location several years ago, and then through the city forces, Public Works and Electric Department, we were able to develop the range. It's both a pistol range and a 100-yard rifle range, and really it's state-of-the-art. Something really proud of, and the officers take tremendous pride in it. One of the things we've been looking for is to have a facility out there that could be cost-effective, to have the opportunity to go in and do the classroom part of the training. We have mandatory training where we have to have the use of force. Attorneys come in, and that's wonderful, but we just really don't have the facility, and we certainly don't have the room at the police department to do something like that. So for the last 3 years at least, we've had the property prepped. Our Public Works put a pad down. The electric department did electrical and that sort of thing. We had identified some temporary classrooms at different locations where we tried to make purchases, but when we went to inspect them, they just weren't up to... It was something we really didn't want to try and bring back home. If you're aware, Shooting Park Road Baptist Church several years ago purchased from the Peru school system the temporary classroom that they had over at Roosevelt School, and it's been housed out at Shooting Park Road Baptist Church for several years as their classroom for their Sunday school and that sort of thing. Anyway, they're doing a major addition out there, so I went and spoke with Pastor McKee. Actually, Jeff did when he was issuing building permits, and kind of spotted it and knew we were looking for that, and one thing led to the other, and we said we'd like to get that for our classroom, so we had a place to go when we're out there doing training. And the pastor said they paid $4,000 for it. They've since put a new roof. It's in unbelievable condition, and that's all they wanted was the $4,000. So we think it would be a wonderful addition for our officers in training and have a nice secure area to go and have the classroom part of the training. So.
I made that a motion, Your Honor.
Okay, we have a second. Is there any further discussion? Have a roll call vote, call the roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Payton.
Motion approved. Doug, do you know the size, Doug or Jeff? Are they two 12 or 14-foot sides and probably 60 long? Okay, so that'd be a nice size.
This on the pad is perfect.
Very good. Okay, that motion was approved. Anything further from Finance Safety Services?
Oh, yeah.
Chairman Waldorf, Public Services.
Yes, sir.
Yes, the first item, I'd like to make a motion to award the bid for the Illinois Valley Regional Airport pavement marking and crack sealing project to the lowest responsible bidder.
And I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to award the bid for the Illinois Valley Airport pavement and marking crack sealing. Is there any discussion? A roll call vote, clerk call roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Payton.
Aye.
Motion approved.
And that bid was submitted by Highlight Airfield Services, and they're centered in Adams Center, New York. and that bid was for $145,970. Next, I'd like to make a motion to go out for bids for the purchase of a new digger derrick truck for the electric department for an approximate cost of $280,000.
Second, Your Honor.
Okay, we jumped over a couple here, right? Okay. So this was the motion to bid for a digger derrick for approximate cost of $280,000, Lukosius and Waldorf. Okay, any discussion? Have a roll call roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Payton.
Motion approved.
Next, Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to execute an engineering service agreement with Chamlin and Associates for Washington School Survey, and this would be for the splash pad in the approximate amount of $7,000. Correct, Eric?
I'll second that.
A motion is second to execute engineering service with Chamlin Associates for Washington School Survey for the splash pad. Approximately $7,000. Okay, any discussion? Call roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Payton.
Okay, Eric, have there been some people that have contacted you on the,
Yeah, so I spoke briefly with our grant administrator, DNR, on the phone on Friday, and through email today had sent them an outline of the proposal that we have for changing the site location on the grant. Ran through some of the scope of work with her on what we're proposing now, a more expanded project, specifically towards the accessibility at the splash pad, the change of scope from building a parking lot to expanding and improving existing parking areas, and then, as I said earlier, moving all of the area that was originally proposed in the scope to across the street to a Washington school site, where in the original proposal we had the activities divided with a street crossing. There's some activities that were adjacent to the library, others that were adjacent to the Washington Park baseball diamond, and of course the parking area further to the east. So the new proposal would be more centralized location for everything. And as each of you know, with the school down now, the site demoed and accepted by the city, we need to get in there and do some survey work in order to develop some conceptual plans to submit to DNR. They're reviewing that now, and they're going to get back to me. I had asked specifically to have a conversation with them regarding documentation in the process for proposing the site change. I don't want to speak for the department and say that they would approve it, but I would think the scale and our proposed changes being what they are, obviously it's all a benefit.
okay, we have a motion and a second. That motion was approved. Where you at? You on the Lazinski? We did that. There was just more discussion afterwards. Somebody asked Eric a question. Okay.
In the amount of $19,650 for removal and replacement of sidewalk and curb and gutter, including landscaping repair. And this would be on Prospect Street between 8th and 9th.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the removal and replacement of sidewalk and curb and landscaping repair. Is there any discussion? Call roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Payton.
Motion approved.
Finally, Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to authorize emergency repairs for the RV's lift station and structure. Jeff, do you want to elaborate a little bit?
Yeah, today we spent most of the morning up there, getting it bypassed so we could get the contractors in there and see what the extent of the damage was from the pump twisting. We got a pretty good idea what we need to repair. The structures, basically, the rods and everything that holds the pump in place. We have some bolts missing and both elbows which are in there. We have a gasket out. So several items we have to get to replace. They took all the numbers and everything they need to get the parts and pieces ordered, and I told them to get going as soon as possible so we can get that station back up and running. It's our only station up there that pushes everything out from North 80, so we're in a big hurry to get that stuff done.
Do we have a second? I have a motion by Alderman Waldorf. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to authorize emergency repairs. Is there any discussion? A roll call, call the roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Payton.
Motion approved. Anything further from Public Services?
No, sir.
Report city attorney ordinances, resolutions.
Yes, Your Honor. First ordinance I have is an ordinance amending the provisions of the City of Peru Code of Ordinances, Chapter 70, Article 4, and adding Division 3 cannabis. And this provides regulations for the possession of cannabis and cannabis paraphernalia. Chief Burmy, do you want to say some words on that?
Yes, just a couple of weeks ago now, the governor signed a new law that went into effect immediately upon his signature, decriminalizing the possession of cannabis and cannabis paraphernalia. 10 grams or less is now decriminalized in Illinois. It's a civil penalty. It's a civil offense, not a criminal offense. We're not here, obviously, to debate the merits, whether cannabis should be criminalized or not criminalized. The reality is the legislature has determined that 10 grams and less is decriminalized and is civil. So it was my suggestion to the Finance and Safety Services Committee, under the current law, for an officer to cite someone, it would be a civil charge, as I said. The offender would have to appear in court in Ottawa. There would be a minimal civil fine assessed. So it was my recommendation that since it is decriminalized and it is a civil penalty, that we pass ordinances that are civil offenses. Then the officers have the ability to charge under our city ordinance, under our city administrative adjudication. There's two obvious benefits, I think, about doing that. Number one, if there's a situation where an officer feels it's appropriate to bring a charge, he can do it under administrative adjudication. The offender does not have to go to Ottawa. The offender can come here, appear in front of our administrative hearing officer. And then, in part of that, we don't then have to send an officer or our city attorney to Ottawa and actually have a negative cost impact on the city. When we do it under a city ordinance, now that it's decriminalized, we don't have to send the officer. The offender can come here, and then the fine money, if one is assessed by the hearing officer, would go to the city 100%. So rather than have a situation where if we did cite someone and it's going to cost the city, we're going to lose money by enforcing the law. Not that we would make money, but we certainly don't want to have to pay our lawyer, pay our police officers to appear in Ottawa for a civil penalty. So we'd like to see this ordinance in place.
Okay, do we have a motion?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to receive the ordinance and place on file as written and read. Is there any discussion? Okay, we'll have a roll call. Call the roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Payton.
Motion approved.
Next, Your Honor, I have an ordinance authorizing conveyance of 1008 to 1012 Peoria Street, Peru, Illinois, which is the old Public Works building, to DG Partners LLC, doing business as DG Partners Midwest LLC, a Missouri limited liability company. And this is, we entered into the sale and development agreement with DG Partners to construct a Dollar General store at the old Public Works building on November 2nd, 2015. We continue to occupy that building as we constructed the new Public Works building, which is now ready for occupancy, so now we're conveying the deed pursuant to that development agreement.
Your Honor, make a motion that we accept the ordinance as written.
Have a motion, a second, to approve the ordinance as written and read. Is there any discussion? Call roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Radke. Payton.
Motion approved.
Finally, I have a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of jail facility use agreements to be entered into by the City of Peru with the Illinois Valley Regional Dispatch, the City of LaSalle, the City of Oglesby, and the City of Spring Valley. Chief?
Yeah, I can take that. Thank you. This is another housekeeping item. This is a resolution agreement that was prepared by the law firm of Kleinthorpe and Jenkins on behalf of all the communities in the area and Illinois Valley Regional Dispatch. You've passed several intergovernmental agreements leading up to the creation of IVRD. As you know, Phase 1 of IVRD goes into effect on September 1st. Part of the arrangement is during certain circumstances, it's possible that LaSalle and Oglesby and Spring Valley at given times may have to temporarily bring a prisoner into our facility because the dispatchers will be located there. That's not all of their arrests. It'll be actually out of the norm for it to happen. But we wanted to have a resolution in place just so it could spell out the responsibilities of each community in IVRD. The most important, I think, part of the agreement was we wanted to ensure, and it is very good language, that if for some reason a prisoner was brought into our facility and that person, for whatever reason, required any type of medical attention, that the agency who made the arrest is responsible for those costs. It would not be the City of Peru. That's always been the arrangement, but it was probably time and maybe to have an actual written agreement in place, because from time to time, if we have issues, we can bring prisoners elsewhere, and people bring ours, so it's a good opportunity to do housekeeping and protect the city. Just in the event something ever happened, we wouldn't be responsible for the costs related to any other community's privilege. So you've probably seen in the paper, I think Oglesby and LaSalle have passed this, and Spring Valley will be passing it in the near future.
Okay, do we have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second, Your Honor.
Have a motion and a second to approve the resolution as written and read. Is there any further discussion? Call roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Payton.
Motion approved. Anything further from City Attorney? Nothing?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Okay, unfinished business. Anybody have any unfinished business? Anybody have any new business?
Yes, Your Honor, I'd just like to mention, in tonight's paper, there was an open forum criticizing the city on how we handle rundown houses and that. And I'd just like to respond to that every alderman here keeps track of every phone call they get and the problems they have and write it down. So if we don't know the addresses, we can't take care of it. I know Josh has been working on it very hard. The only thing I would ask is that when Josh writes something up, like in a couple weeks, give us a response back of what's happening with them homes, if you could.
There is still that yellow house on Rock Street that's kind of abandoned. I mean, that one's really, the one I'm talking about, right by. It's right by the by the office building there. I don't think anyone's living there.
No, it's getting full remodeling.
Is it?
Yeah, they got all the walls tore out, and there's, town subdivision.
Okay, that's good to know, because the external, the external doesn't look very good. I mean, to the point where there's, almost looks like windows missing or something, but maybe I'm wrong.
Or the rock one?
That's the rock one.
They disappeared home.
Okay.
Alderman Ferrari, one of the things we have been doing the last two meetings, because the committee thought it was very nice, we've been having Josh come to the committee meetings, and he's bringing an updated list of everything that's been looked at, being looked at, and then kind of on the watch list, even though it's fixed, but he goes back on a regular basis, so we can expand that and get that.
That would be appreciated.
I think you'd really like to see that. And then I'm going to say this, whether you believe me or not, This very topic is going to be talked about Wednesday. There's a meeting between, the News Tribune is gonna be meeting with Josh and Jeff and myself to talk about the successes of our code enforcement program. So that's this Wednesday, so when you see an article coming.
You've had
Well,
Oh, yeah, it's in the hundreds of write-ups, I believe.
and I would also like to invite all the citizens of Peru, and even the aldermen. I went to the last administrative, however you pronounce that, the court.
Administrative adjudication?
And you ought to just see what happens in that court system. I mean, it's just, people have more excuses than, it's just unreal. So I recommend that everybody, invite even the public to come to one.
But we're gonna get a story also on our, how this code enforcement, so, you'll be seeing that, and hopefully the residents will know, the successes. And, we have had to write some actual charges, but that's just how it is. But sometimes you gotta put a little teeth into the enforcement, and you try and get compliance, but, so you'll be reading about the successes there, but we'll make sure that everybody gets a copy of that.
I haven't seen the open forum, but was there an address?
No.
Just a complaint, but no address. Do we even know what it was? I mean, where it was?
I haven't even seen it.
Okay.
And Jeff's been told not to respond to it.
Well, there's nothing there without an address. There's no teeth to anything, so.
That's worked on it.
Well, for instance, as far as the budget, we were at 50,000, the previous budget, now we're at 250. And as far as time goes, what's the timeline on the house on, was it 13th? We've been working on that for over 2 years, it's tied up in the courts.
Yeah.
And I had a couple of calls last week,
So, once again,
do you want to flip it?
Again, when they...
Is the last demo done on Main?
Yes.
That's finished, okay, that just, it'd be nice to know which house that this complaint was about, because I have no idea.
Well, getting back to the 13th Street house, I would hope that if it's in the hands of a realtor, that the realtor is disclosing, the history of this thing and the ordinance violations that have taken place with this house.
We actually upped the mowing on it.
Well, it's unfortunate.
Yeah,
that
we
we're-
probably have a lot
that
of
we're,
leads.
helping out the people that are marketing the home, but eventually maybe we'll get some of our,
We'll get all the leads back. There we go. We'll get all the leads.
okay.
We got qualifications. We got paid up to that $50. So we got on it, because it was the rain, once it's 10 days,
And I think the other point to make is I think that's really the purpose of Josh, is, you know, if we wait till houses get to the point where we have to tear them down or put that expense into them, then that's a big expense on the city. And whereas now we have a person that's hired to focus on that, to hopefully prevent properties from getting to that point. Some of the properties that are in that condition, we can't turn back the clock, but we
Much
have to
more
prevent
proactive
that.
approach.
We have to prevent that in the
Yeah,
future.
much more
because
proactive.
It's a significant cost if we don't stay on top of it.
We got issues, but I'd still take our issues over a lot. So, you know, we're gonna be proactive and stay on top of it. It's been a very good success, I think.
Okay. All right. New business. That's done. Petition communications. Do we have any petitions, communications?
We have a communication from the Peru Fire Department requesting permission to conduct the annual Fill the Boot campaign for muscular dystrophy on September 11th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the intersection of Peoria Street and Shooting Park Road.
Do we have a motion to receive communication, place on file and grant permission?
So moved, Your Honor.
Next. We have a motion and a second to receive communication, place on file, and grant the permission. Is there any discussion? All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried.
All right, then we have a communication from Amber Store and James Einhaus requesting permission to hold their wedding at Centennial Park on Saturday, September 17th at 2 p.m.
Have a motion to receive communication, place on file, and if there's no conflicts, to grant permission.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to receive, place on file, and grant permission if there's no conflicting with that date. Any communication? All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Okay, I have a communication that I just received this afternoon. Rebecca Mueller, 2509 Pulaski Street, Peru, Illinois, 61354. To the Honorable Mayor Scott Howell, member of the City Council, 1901 4th Street, Peru, Illinois. Dear Mayor and Council, I'm writing to inform you that I am tendering my resignation as First Ward Alderman for the City of Peru, effective August 31st, 2016. Due to the scheduling conflicts with the new job, I am unable to give the city the time and attention the position requires. I have enjoyed working with you all and hope that I was able to make a positive contribution to our beautiful city. Kindest regards, Rebecca L. Mueller. Rebecca L. Mueller, First Ward Alderman.
Your Honor, with very much regret, I will make that motion.
And I will second it, Your Honor.
I'll just say that, one of the things that Alderman Mueller did was really looking at the cemetery. There were some areas of the cemetery, in particular the mausoleum, that had not been, addressed maybe in a long time, and some of those areas really need to be addressed. So she brought that out and made sure that that got on in front of the city council. And I think once the mausoleum is done, that will be very nice improvement for our cemetery that kind of was flying under the radar until Alderman Mueller brought that up. So
I think we all enjoyed working with Becky Mueller and wish her the best of luck.
Aye.
With that, we need to do two things. With the last appointments that we've had, we only needed to do one thing, and that was appoint someone, and they were the person that was in that office. This time, because of and I'll let Attorney Schweikert go into it, but because of the length of time before the next election and the length of time left in the term for that person, things are a little different than normal. So I'll let Attorney Schweikert go through that and what we need to do. There's one more hoop we need to go through, so go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. I had passed out a memo to the City Council tonight, and the long and short of it is, from this point on, the mayor is to appoint a new person to fill that alderman position within 60 days, and then the City Council is to approve with advice or consent of an appointed position within 30 days thereafter, and the appointed person filling the alderman position will serve until the next election, which is April 4th of 2017. Because we are more than 130 days before that election, and there's more than 28 months remaining on the alderman's term, that person will be replaced by the elected alderman from the election in April, and will continue to serve the remainder of that 2-year term. The remainder of the 4-year term, which is 2 years.
So in April of 2017, there will be, someone will pull a petition and file a petition and specify whether they're running for the 4-year term or the unexpired 2-year term until that happens.
That's correct. So that pretty much answers it all.
The statute says that they will serve the remaining the 4-year term. There's 2 years left of it. They will serve the rest of those 2 years, and then there'll be another election in 2019 for the 4-year term going forward.
But I think what Alderman Radke said, somebody's going to need to file a petition, if that even happens, but somebody's going to need to file a petition for the 2-year term. It's possible that you'll have multiple that'll file it for the 4-year term, and the 2-year term would be open. That's where you're going with it, right? But we don't know, and if that's the case. I doubt it. I don't know. Well, that was a different scenario, and that is spelled out in the state statute because there was a change in the wards. There was a change in the boundaries from the 2010 census, and that's specified. The change affected Alderman Radke was in the first ward, and then he ended up in the second ward. So there was 2 people on the ballot, and then you had to draw by lot.
2 open seats at that point.
2 open seats.
There will be 2 that have to be elected, and so, like I said, I think what'll happen is you'll have to have one person or several people running specifically for a 4-year term, and one person or several people specifically for a 2-year term, and it'll still say that on the ballot. I think, and you'll have to declare that on your petition when you file.
Right.
And
Right.
you cannot, I don't believe you can get on the ballot 2 different spots for the same in the government.
No. And petitions, if I'm not mistaken, September 20th, so it's right around the corner. So with that, we need an appointment right away, so I'm going to ask the deputy clerk to make sure that either yourself or Clerk Bartley or the HR, whoever put it in the paper for the treasurer, put it in as soon as possible. And we only have 2 meetings left before the September 20th. And it's possible somebody might come forward and might want an appointment and receive an appointment and be approved by the council, but they don't want to run for, they don't want to go through the election process. I don't know. We don't know. This happened today, and that's the rules, and so we have to go by the rules. So we'll put it in the paper. Anybody ask? I mean, we need it to happen fairly quickly.
Are we required to appoint someone? I mean, if you get no letters, are we still required to find someone?
We are required within 60 days for for the mayoral appointment, and then within 30 days for the council to approve it. So we have 90 days, but it really wouldn't be, to me, it really wouldn't be fair if somebody wants to be appointed, and they are, and then also run, because then, you know, their time is less. 90 days puts you into what, November? Somewhere in there, I don't know. So you wouldn't have that much time. So a few things need to happen, you know, which I'm repeating myself now. There needs to be an appointment by state statute, and then somebody will need to run for election at the April 4th, 2017 election for First Ward. Yes, I'm gonna say put down a week, because I'd like to see something happen as soon as the next meeting. If not, the meeting after that's the 19th. So the 6th, which is the day after Labor Day, or the 19th. So I'd say a week. And once again, this is something that in the past we've let the letters come in as they do. But this time, I would ask if anybody knows anybody that would be interested, mention it to them, because they might not see it in the legal section. Was it in the legal section? Was it, or was it in the help wanted ads? I don't remember what it was in. It was, I don't think it was in the legal, but anyway. Help wanted. Okay.
I think between the paper and maybe put something on the website too, or I don't know if that's something you do on social media, or Facebook, maybe people will see it.
Yeah, because it's something that it just happened. The letter from Rebecca Mueller is dated August 19th. I just received it this afternoon, and so it's something that happened very quickly. And there's nothing wrong with putting it on our Facebook page, and you know, I don't know. Okay, once again, it's been received, placed on file, and on behalf of myself and everyone else, it's with regret, but we're happy that Rebecca Mueller has things going. Is there any other petitions, communications?
Nope.
Public comment? Do we have any public comment? Who do we have? Mike?
Yeah, it was before, I don't. That's not what caused this though. No, what happened here is the bolt busted out, and it twisted, and the one that kicked on, it spun out, and ripped it all.
And there is a spare pump. Yeah.
There is a spare pump there, but no, that didn't cause this problem. No, it just was a failure. In the bolt.
Okay, any other, Gina, Claudia, anybody? Right. Gina asked me earlier, someone informed Gina that she needed to write a letter for an appointment to the Friends for Approved Pool. That's an ad hoc committee, and there's never been anything that's formal, so nobody's ever been appointed to that committee. You know, it's just been whoever's on it. So that's not necessary, Gina. Thank you for asking, though. Yeah, that's fine. There's nothing formal about it, and that's fine, and thank you very much for doing it. Okay. Closed session, anybody? No? Adjournment? Okay, we have motion, a second. All in favor, signify by aye. Meeting adjourned, 7:47.
It's definitely to get this